Okay, you're in a job interview. The hiring manager leans forward and asks, "Walk me through how you start a pen test." Now, the answer most people give is, "I jump straight to scanning." And that is the wrong answer. The right answer starts way before you ever touch a single tool. So let's talk about what actually happens first and why getting this wrong can completely blow an entire engagement.
So why is jumping straight to a tool like Nmap so wrong? Well, simply put, it's allowed. It's the digital equivalent of kicking down a door when you don't even know if you're at the right house yet. See, the first phase of any professional engagement isn't about breaking stuff. It's about building a map. It's all intelligence gathering, what we call footprinting or reconnaissance. If you skip this step, you're operating blind. You're going to waste a ton of time and you'll trip every alarm before you've found anything even remotely useful.
To really get a feel for this, let's use an analogy. Think of footprinting like a professional thief casing a bank before a heist, right? They're not just going to walk in and start drilling the vault. They spend days, maybe even weeks, just watching. Sitting in a coffee shop across the street, gathering intelligence without ever setting foot on the property.
So what are they doing? They're taking notes. They're observing guard shift changes, counting security cameras, identifying blind spots. And for an attacker, every little piece of public information an organization leaks online is one of those camera angles. You've got their DNS, that's domain name system, records, which show the digital layout of their network. A WHOIS lookup, which is just a public directory for domain ownership, reveals who owns the digital property. Heck, even job postings for a senior AWS engineer tell you the exact tech they're running inside. And of course, LinkedIn? Well, LinkedIn shows you who holds the digital keys to the kingdom.
All right, so let's really nail this down. How does the heist map to the hack? When the thief is noting guard shift changes, for us, that's tracking key employees on LinkedIn to figure out who has access to what. When they're counting cameras on the building, that's us using a tool called Shodan to find exposed services and devices, all those digital cameras pointed at the internet. And reading the building's blueprint? That's as simple as running a WHOIS query to understand the company's network range and who owns it, the literal property lines of their digital real estate.
Okay, so now that we've got the mindset right, let's get under the hood. Footprinting really breaks down into two fundamental approaches, and understanding the difference is absolutely critical: passive versus active.
First up, passive footprinting. Think of this as the art of pure observation. This is our bank thief still in that coffee shop. You are gathering a ton of intelligence without sending a single network packet to the target's systems. And the big takeaway here? You are completely invisible to them. This whole process relies on something we call OSINT, or open source intelligence. Basically, information that's already out there in the public. You just need to know where to find it.
So, what's in our passive toolkit? You run a WHIS lookup, and boom, you know who owns the domain. You use a tool like Dig for DNS enumeration to pull back records that map out their entire infrastructure. You use Google Dorking. These are advanced search tricks to find sensitive files they might have accidentally left exposed. You can even search public certificate transparency logs to find subdomains they use. We already mentioned Shodan for finding their internet-facing devices. There's a tool called theHarvester that scrapes public sources for employee email addresses, perfect for a future phishing campaign. And of course, there's LinkedIn for staff roles and tech stack clues. Okay, so that's passive. Now let's flip the coin to active footprinting. This is you getting up, walking across the street, and starting to touch the building. You are now directly interacting with the target's systems by sending them packets. Now this can get you way more detailed information, but it comes with a huge trade-off. You're making noise. You're creating a digital footprint of your own, and every single packet you send could be logged and could get you detected.
Let's look at this cat and mouse game in action. For port scanning, an attacker might run a command like Nmap SYN. This is a type of scan called a TCP SYN scan. It's like knocking on a series of doors and running away before anyone answers just to see which ones are unlocked. Now, on the defender's side, what do they see? Their firewall logs a whole bunch of these weird half-open connection attempts all from one place. That's a classic signature of a scan in progress. It's the same deal with network mapping. The attacker uses a tool like traceroute to map the exact network path to their target. From the defender's perspective, their monitoring tools just see this really distinct pattern of ICMP packets, think of them as digital pings, and error messages coming from a single source. It's a clear sign that someone is trying to draw a map of their network.
And here's a big one, a DNS zone transfer attempt. The attacker uses a query type called AXFR. This is basically asking the company's DNS server, "Hey, can I have a copy of your entire address book?" If the server is misconfigured, it'll just hand it over. The defender, though, would hopefully see a log showing this highly suspicious AXFR request coming from an IP address that has no business asking for it. It's a huge, flashing red light.
All right, we've gone through the how, but none of that matters without the why. So let's look at a massive, real-world breach and really talk about what this means for your career.
Back in 2020, there was the infamous SolarWinds supply chain attack. This was a huge deal, orchestrated by a sophisticated group called APT29. It was a massive campaign that ended up hitting something like 18,000 organizations, including major parts of the US government.
And how did this whole massive, complex attack start? With one tiny piece of passive reconnaissance. The attackers found SolarWinds' FTP credentials just sitting there, leaked in a public GitHub repository. 0 packets sent to the target, 0 alerts triggered. Just a simple search. That was it. That was their way in. To bring it back to our analogy, this wasn't just casing the bank. This was casing the bank and finding out they leave the key right under the doormat. So, if the attackers are doing this stuff, what are the defenders supposed to do? Well, the smart ones are using the exact same tools to find their own weak spots first. They use Shodan to see what their own company looks like from an attacker's point of view. And they use tools like Multigo to map out all the relationships between their domains, their people, and their IPs to get a full picture of their own attack surface. And that is why this first step is so critical. This stuff is literally Module 2 of the CEH, that's the Certified Ethical Hacker Certification, and you will be tested on it. On a real-world pen test, you can expect to spend 20 to 30% of your entire engagement just in this phase. And if your goal is to be a defender in a SOC, a security operations center, you're on the other side, building detection rules for the exact scan patterns we just talked about. So back in that job interview, when they ask you how you start here. Okay, we've talked theory, we've talked real-world impact. Now let's talk about how you actually get your hands dirty with this stuff and turn theory into skill. Now that you get footprinting, what's the next logical step? Well, that's scanning and enumeration. And just remember this key difference. Footprinting tells you what exists, scanning tells you what's open on those things that exist. And that's exactly what our next explainer is all about, a deep dive into Nmap.
But before we jump ahead, are you ready to actually practice what we just went over? Because theory is one thing, but running the tools yourself is how you really make this stuff stick.
Awesome. Here's your first mission. Head over to tryhackme.com and search for a free room called Passive Reconnaissance. It's a totally safe and legal sandbox where you can get hands-on with tools like theHarvester, practice WHOIS lookups, and really reinforce everything we just talked about.
Hey, if you're working towards your CEH or your Pentest Plus certification, you're definitely going to want to subscribe. In the next explainer, we're going to break down Nmap. Not just the commands, but the flags that matter in the real world and the exact signatures that defenders build rules to catch. It is the perfect next step.